Well, hello and welcome to another 186 Cloud Tech Talk. In this edition of our popular series, we're going to be joined by one of our valued vendors, uJet. And we're going to learn about their contact center proposition and hear about the market, where it's going in relation to contact center as a customer experience technology. I'm delighted to welcome into this session today my esteemed colleague from uJet, Gary Suchley. Gary, welcome to this session of the 186 Cloud Tech Talk. Really pleased to have you on the show today.
Yeah, great to be here, Stephen. And thank you for having us.
Fantastic. Let's get to it if we can. So, Gary, before we get into the technology and what you're about, tell us a bit about yourself and your role at uJet.
Yeah, so I'm Gary Suchley. I'm an account executive here at uJet. So I've been with the business just over 10 months now, and my remit is to grow out our EMEA business alongside our channel partners.
Fantastic for that. And for those who might be unfamiliar with uJet, what do you do? What does your platform aim to solve in the contact center environment?
So we understand there's wait times in the contact center, and that's a huge problem, and it has been for a long time now. That's hasn't gone away. We've had the evolution of Omnichannel, and and a variety of channels to service some of that wait time on. Where we differentiate ourselves at uJet is we're a mobile first CX platform. So the channels reside from that mobile device, and we want to meet our customers where they are. And that's where the interactions originate from. So that's how we differentiate ourselves to the other sort of, I guess, CCaaS and CX players.
Interesting. Tell us about the founding of uJet and how the company was founded and evolved over time.
Yeah, it's a really good story. So we're a 10-year-old startup. Our founder, Nan Jennifer, actually didn't come from the contact center space. He was from the mobile space, hence the USP there. He actually was part of the product team that helped with the Motorola Razr. You guys are familiar with that, but his vision was that we're meeting customers where they are, and with 95% of calls into the contact center coming from the mobile device, it seemed logical when you think about it.
Interesting. Yes, I do remember the Motorola Razr. I'm that old. Um, Walk us through the uJet's approach to modernizing the contact center, because as we know, there are a myriad of contact center vendors out there. Some that our community will know very well. So tell us about the uJet's approach to actually helping customers modernizing their contact center and their customer experience environment.
Yeah, I think that's a big word for us at uJet around modernizing that approach. So, you know, as I mentioned before, customers are consuming things like mobile apps, every day, and the data that device can stew and provide on customers is huge. But typically, in the normal customer service journeys, you would call into a contact center, and all of that data is rendered useless. So what we are trying to do to modernize that approach is meet the customers where they are, be it from that digital experience, use all of that metadata that they've consumed potentially in that mobile app and pass that through to the agent so we can provide a contextual interaction and all of that in real time, right? We understand speed is paramount to a modern experience, and that's something we're super strong on as well.
That's really interesting. You keep talking about, already in the few minutes we've engaged in this conversation, you've been mentioning the word mobile. Tell us why uJet decided to become a mobile-first organization. Why did you and where did you see the market going in terms of the mobile experience, and why you decided to focus on that?
I think contact centers in the past sort of 15 to 20 years haven't changed, but ultimately the way we communicate has. So we talk about the challenges in the contact center, limited insights, lack of ability to scale, all of the standard sort of challenges that we deal with day in, day out. But in that time, we've had the evolution of the internet in 2000, the smartphone adoption in 2007, and obviously Gen AI now in 2024 and 25. And ultimately, that's the key for us is, that smartphone adoption is something that, we've seen so much of, but it's such a powerful tool to utilize that to differentiate the experience for brands.
I think that's really important. I'm very impressed, that you have focused on that mobile space because it's a big feature of customer interaction today. But talking about features, give us if you can, an overview of the sorts of features that a customer of the uJet contact experience could get access to and could enjoy.
Well, we spoken a little bit around that in-app experience. So when we talk in-app, we mean, if you was on your shopping app, you're searching for some new clothes and you have a query. Typically today, if you want to speak to someone, you would have to leave the app, call a DDI, call into the contact center, authenticate yourself, tell them who you are, what your problem is, all of that good stuff that you go through. But at UJet, what with our sort of in-app innovation, what we can do is actually elevate that call and stay in that environment. So contain that interaction. So we house all of that data, which is great, but what you've been searching for, what size shoe you're looking for, Steve, and all the good stuff. So we can aid that interaction a lot quicker. But also we can start to use some of the device-centric tools. So authentication is a great one. Tell us your mother's maiden name or your passcode. But on the device, we authenticate ourselves 100 times a day using biometrics and keypad ID. So why can't we do that in the contact center? So one of the key components of uJet is modernizing that approach. We can actually send a push to authentication through the device, and you authenticate using your biometrics like you would do on any other experience. So that's the sort of the modern experience that we're trying to promote. In addition to that, in terms of the full CX stack, we service a full omnichannel platform across workforce management, WhatsApp integration, email, all of the good tools you'd expect to be in the contact center, and underpin that with a layer of AI. That's with one of our partners at Google. So we're really sort of future proofing your investment with Google from an AI perspective, but also providing you that full modern experience with our uJet front end as well.
Yep, yep, that's good to know. Tell us also a bit about, if you can, about CRM integration, because the storing and retrieval of customer records to enable a great customer experience is ever so important. Tell us a bit about the sort of CRMs that you integrate with and how you integrate with them.
Yes, it's a really good question, Stephen. So we took a bit of a different approach to the sort of the natural CRM integrations that other vendors would pursue, and that's by design. So we focus a lot at uJet around data residency, compliance, and security standards. But one of the key components of that is that we actually don't store any customer records or PII data. So what I mean by that is that any of that personal information does not reside on the uJet platform. We are just surfacing that in real time from the system of record. So be it the CRM that we spoke about now, or any other sort of third-party system of record you have. So what we mean is we have a real-time data exchange with your HubSpot, your Salesforce, your Zendesk, your Microsoft Dynamics, your ServiceNows, etc., and really are feeding that information in real time. So rather than us capturing it and replicating it, and DPOs having a nightmare of as to where we're storing it or what we're doing with the data, we're just feeding it into your CRM in real time. So we're consolidating your data strategy approach, but also enhancing the agent's experience because they have access to all this data in real time.
Right, excellent. I really understand that. Thank you. Now I'm going to turn to AI. Everybody's been
Yep.
talking about it over the last couple of years. I really believe we're experiencing a historic moment in relation to AI. I believe that 2025 could be our last year of normality. What I mean by that is that, you look at Grok 4, for example, only a couple of weeks ago, Elon Musk and team announced the availability of Grok 4 and their confidence in terms of where Grok 4 can take us, i.e. They believe that by the end of the year, we'll see the sorts of features start to come out of Grok 4 and its peers that we haven't experienced so far, right? So, and we're potentially only, although the market analysts thought we were potentially still another 10 years away from AGI, now market analysts are starting to think we could be a couple of years away from it. So for the first time, AI could actually have empathy, for example. Users of AI could start to experience human-like relationships. Tell us more, if you can, about uJet's approach to AI, where you're using it, where you see the opportunity for your customers, and because I think it's a topic that customers are really interested in hearing about in the market, and understanding vendors who can take them on that journey confidently.
Yeah, I think obviously it's naturally a huge evolution in the market, as you mentioned, Stephen. So I think typically people consider AI to be in two forms. So sort of pre-agent engagement and perhaps post or during that agent engagement. So when we talk about things like virtual agents and the steering based upon intents and the routing, that's all part of the offering naturally. And I guess routing interaction as efficiently and effectively as we can, from the get-go. So that's all pretty standard, and we're pretty good at that side of things. I think where we really differentiate from a UJet perspective is actually combining an agent and automation experience in the same interaction. So what I mean by that is that rather than handing off, you hear the word hand off all the time, the bot's handing off or the agent handing off. What we're trying to do is let them coexist in the same interaction. So
Okay.
for example, we have what we call virtual task agents, and that ultimately is enabling a human agent to alleviate a task during the call to AI to go and perform, whilst keeping the interaction with a human ongoing. So that might be a payment, that might be an admin update, it might be in interacting with another tool. But these pre-confined tasks that enable an agent to ultimately build a better experience for the customer, but retaining that human interaction whilst they're doing it. So again, I guess the word is we're trying to get rid of his handoff and more pursue a coexistent world where automation and human interaction blend together.
That's interesting because you're right. I love that approach. In the conversations I've had with lots of other contact center vendors, they talk about exactly that, that the customer starts maybe with the digital experience, and if they're experiencing difficulty, then it's handed off to a human being. What you're saying is, let's use them both together where they're appropriate, and so that the customer can have the best of both worlds, have the experience that they're looking for. So absolutely love that approach. Give us some, if you can, some examples of where you're using uJet, sort of some examples, not necessarily just of AI, but examples of UK customers that are enjoying the uJet experience.
Yeah, I mean, we had a show last week with a customer, so a finance customer, where they spoke about the scale of the platform being one of the key components of the UJet piece. And I think financial services, insurance has been a big part of the UJet sort of success. And I think it's a culmination of a couple of things. So the first thing we touched upon around that compliance element, where we're not storing any of that data. So it's a big tick from the entry point from a compliance perspective. So they know that they can take us to a DPO or a CTO and say that these guys are treating our data in the right way. I think the second piece is where we've done really well in that sector is meeting modern consumers where they are. So as we've touched upon around the digital experiences we offer, things like digital banking and insurance companies, looking to deflect customers into a self-serve approach around that mobile application, but still offer that real personalized approach when they want to escalate to voice, because they understand that customer acquisition costs right now in the industry are huge, across a variety of industries. That the ability to go and onboard new customers is so hard at the moment, and so expensive, that the ones that we have are so important to retain. So how can we offer a personalized experience to retain them? And that's what we've seen, a real sort of success in that financial services industry for sure. But again, we have other successes, in retail, in professional services. I was with a utilities company the other day, and one of the use cases we spoke about, which was, which is great, was that they have a challenge with power cuts. So if a customer logs a power cut with them, they can go onto their app and log their address with the power cut. Now the key challenge they have from there is notifying people in the area that power cut's either happened or
Right.
is about to happen. Now, one of the key benefits of them logging it on a mobile app is they have geolocation services, so we can understand, as a business where they reside currently today. So one of the key pieces we've done with uJet is log that into the CRM, run a report around a 10-mile radius, initiate an outbound campaign to then reach out to all them customers within a 10-mile radius to say, we understand there's an impending power cut, we are on it. So what we've done there is we've taken that from a reactive situation into a proactive one, which ultimately leads to a better experience for the customers.
I like that. And what I also like is that um, a lot of contact center platforms really focus on inbound. It's an inbound experience. You're also providing the ability for outbound campaigns for, in that example, where a customer needed to alert customers to a situation. But I guess you also provide the features for customers to be proactive around their relationship with their customers from an outbound perspective as well. Will that be the case?
Absolutely, absolutely. So one of the most sort of sought after features from our customer base was what we call agentless dialer. So the ability to reach out to, obviously, as many customers as they can, but in an effective and innovative way per se. So we have a number of options around how you can proactively reach out, and that's not just by voice. That can be via different channels of communication. That can include them all in a blended environment as well. So
Right.
you might use them and coexist them together. So for example, it may be that we're going to call you this morning, and if you haven't notified us that you've accepted that interaction, we might WhatsApp you this afternoon. So we can build out them,
Like that.
real sort of bespoke plans to engage with your customers. And, that leads back to the initial challenge we said that we're trying to fix. Inbound volume is still the biggest challenge in contact centers. And, outbound historically was seen as a bit of a wide area, and people weren't sure whether it was legal or compliant or anything like that. But actually, it's another channel to be able to provide better communications and better information to your customers.
Absolutely. I love the fact that you focus on that as well. It's all really interesting. You've provided some really good background to UJet, where you feature, where you differentiate. Let's talk about where you're going. What's on the roadmap for UJet?
I think there's a number of sort of elements, but I think from a sort of strategy perspective, I think it's really doubling down on the experiences that we can provide and enhancing the experiences that we already have. So, we've spoken about that digital piece. So one of the new pieces that we're taking is letting customers customize that environment. So what we call headless API to be able to really, create their own journeys from the digital interaction. We're also pushing the boundaries, alongside our partner Google on the AI piece to really future-proof the next wave of use cases. And we recently released things like quality AI and automation around the supervisor's experience and the admin experience. So yeah, a lot going on. But I think the key thing for us is really pushing boundaries and making sure that we're providing the most modern experiences for our customers.
Very impressive. Thank you. Um, for customers who are watching this video, Gary, give us one key takeaway that you'd love for them to take away about UJet.
I think there's a lot of good vendors in the market, right? And we're definitely one of them. Where I think we differentiate is very much our agility and our people in delivering our services. So we have a raft of people that have been ex-customers, or ex-consumers of the platform that have guided some of our roadmap. But I actually think that the key component for us as a business is that we're doubling down on where we play strong, and that's modern, future consumer-based experiences. So we know we're not trying to be, the king of all kings. We're doing what we do really well and doubling down. So if you're a business that relies on modern experiences with your customers, then come and have a chat with us, because I think we can provide a lot of value.
Great summary, Gary. Thank you very much. And thank you for your time today. This has been a really interesting interview. I've loved hearing about UJet. If you've enjoyed this tech talk today, and you want to find out more about UJet, just contact 186 Cloud. We'd love to put you in touch and see if we can help you with your contact center experience. Thanks for listening, and thanks for watching. Gary, thank you very much.
Thank you, Stephen.